though we are in a lot of our excitement के चलो मोबाइल मिल गया, let us understand the functions, टैक्स का देखते रहेंगे क्या करना है, but down the line it affects you. It is a very simple theory that I am telling. Indirect taxes as a whole is the largest revenue collector or revenue giver to the government as well, because छोटी से छोटी चीज पर भी इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स लगता है, बड़ी से बड़ी चीज पर भी इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स तो जरूर लगता है. और इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स जब मैं बार बार यूज करता हूं, मेरा सिर्फ एक ही टैक्स के तरफ इशारा है, दैट इज GST, that is your goods and services tax. Because from 1st of July 2017, all the indirect taxes or majority of them were clubbed into GST. So yes, when I talk about this act, I also talk about opportunities, I also talk about missed opportunities, I also talk about concepts, I also talk about how a law should be and what it actually is. But understand one thing before we even start up the G of GST. Law as a subject is what it is. It is not what it should be. So as a student of law, keep your emotions aside and stay extremely neutral. You may not like Modi, you may love him, सब साइड में रखो यार, सब एब्सोल्यूट सब साइड में रखो और सिर्फ ये चीज समझो कि एक्ट क्या बोल रहा है, कौन सी गवर्नमेंट लाई, कौन सी सरकार लाई, कौन सी इसको इम्प्लीमेंट की है, किसके टाइम पे आया था, दे आर ऑल इररिलेवेंट एज ऑफ नाउ, बिकॉज द मैटर ऑफ द रियलिटी इज दैट अभी it is the goods and services tax which is in place. So now after this brief background of what is in place, let us understand what is goods and services tax in the first place. See, it is an indirect tax levied on supply of goods or service. So यहाँ पर दो बातें हो गई आप लोगों के लिए, एक गुड्स का मीनिंग क्या होगा, दूसरा सर्विसेज का मीनिंग क्या होगा. चलो ठीक है, टैक्स है, इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स है, वो तो समझ आ गया है अब तक, बट गुड्स क्या है और सर्विस क्या है, ये दो डेफिनेशंस, इफ यू आर नॉट अवेयर अबाउट देम, ट्रस्ट मी, यू मे बिकम अ चैंपियन ऑफ गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज टैक्स, बट द बेस इज नॉट देयर. So I would only be discussing the meaning of these two terms, goods and services. If I have to explain it to you in your own language, this is a keyboard. Okay, अच्छा sorry दिखा नहीं होगा आप लोगों को. This is a keyboard.
Yes, keyboard.
अच्छा, can you lift this keyboard and take it to your home?
Yes, sir.
This is a calculator. Can you take up this calculator home?
Yes, sir.
Mouse, can you take it home?
Yes, sir, we can.
So what am I trying to tell you? That anything that can move from one place to another is goods.
Yes, sir.
In very simple language, if it is movable, it is goods. So if it is not movable, it is not goods. I hope I am very clear on this part.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is service? Something that is not goods is service. Absolutely. This is how even the act defines my service. Anything other than goods is service. So जब अपन 8th standard में हुआ करते थे, या when we were very young, we always used to identify or write differences between two things. The most common was difference between private limited company and public limited company. अपन क्या लिखते थे? A private limited company is something that is not a public limited company. So बस उसी तरीके से आप गुड्स और सर्विसेज के बीच का डिफरेंस समझ लीजिए. दो चीज ना गुड्स है ना सर्विस है. वन इज मनी, अदर इज सिक्योरिटीज. मनी क्यों साइड में रखा गया है, इसका भी रीजन बताता हूँ और लॉजिक देता हूँ आपको. से फॉर एग्जाम्पल, यू हैव अ 2000 रुपीज का नोट इन योर पॉकेट. You want change. You come to me, you go to your friends, you tell them छुट्टा है क्या, do you have change? So वो आपको क्या करेगा, या तो 500 की 4 नोट दे देगा, या 200 की 10 नोट दे देगा. Whatever is the combination available that the person would give it to you. What have you earned? कुछ कमाया?
Paid? No, nothing.
Nothing. What has your friend done?
Nothing.
Nothing.
What have you paid?
Nothing.
What
Nothing.
has he paid?
Nothing. It was a mere exchange.
It was a mere ट्रांसफर और बोलते हैं ना सिर्फ डिनोमिनेशन ऑफ द नोट्स गॉट चेंज, उसके अलावा कुछ नहीं हुआ ये ट्रांजेक्शन में. सो व्हेन आप ऐसे ट्रांजैक्शंस एक्टिविटी एंटर करते हो तो जैसे हमको उसको गुड्स भी नहीं मानना और हमको उसको सर्विस भी नहीं मानना. अब सिक्योरिटीज वी ऑल नो, शेयर्स, स्टॉक मार्केट, शेयर्स नाम
Yes,
सुना है?
sir. Yeah.
यस सर.
Yes, sir.
सो वो जो शेयर्स है आपके, उसकी मालूम है आपको वैल्यू होती है.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
absolutely.
So वो जो वैल्यू ऑफ सिक्योरिटीज है, on those value of securities there is no GST absolutely. Is the meaning of goods clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Is the
sir.
meaning of service clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Is the meaning of what is not goods, what is not service clear?
Absolutely, sir.
Absolutely. So now tell me, if I have to sell this mobile phone to Aditi, if I have to sell this mobile phone to Aditi, will I have to pay goods and service tax on it?
You will have to.
Yes,
I will have to. It is very clear that I'll have to pay goods and service tax on that thing as well. Now, if I provide professional services to you all, say for example, you want to file up your ITRs. You approach me, you tell me, sir, we want to file our ITRs. What are your charges? So whatever is the amount of money that I take, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, do I have to pay GST on it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Why? Because it is goods and services
Services.
tax. So on a grassroots level, if I have to talk, any exchange of goods and services for a consideration is liable to GST. But you'll also have to understand one more critical important element over here. I can also transfer goods or I can also do other than business activities. Say for example, किसका नाम ले, अदिति, okay? नहीं, अदिति का नाम नहीं लेते. Say for example, Surender is my brother. I give him my mobile phone to use. So obviously, my product, my thing, I am giving to use. So am I giving you service?
Yes.
Definitely yes. But is it my work to give you mobile phone on rent? No.
No.
So then that is a personal activity that has to be differentiated between. So for anything to levy tax, one, there has to be goods, there has to be service, there has to be something in return that is consideration, and there has to be a business relation to it. This statement is what I call as the very base of GST. Absolutely, there has to be a quid pro quo. So this is the very base of GST. Now shifting to one level above. Now understand that you are all business persons. I am your chartered accountant. I give you a supply, I charge you GST on it. And say you are in the business of किसका ले ले. अच्छा, Aditi, what is your favorite food?
Favorite food? Anything like junk.
Junk food. Okay. So you are a restaurant owner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So you are a restaurant owner and you also charge GST to your customers.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what will happen? I have charged GST to you. You, for example, have charged GST to the customer. So you will tell the government that, hey, listen, Nihal has already charged certain portion of GST to me, and I have also charged certain portion of GST to the customer.
Customers.
So I want benefit. Benefit of what? The GST which you have paid to Nihal. Is this demand valid first of all?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Is this demand valid? Yes.
Yes, sir.
But because I am not asking you for some favor, I am only telling you that I have already paid a certain portion of tax to somebody. So I want benefit of it. So the government says that, okay, we are ready to give you that benefit in GST language is known as input tax credit. Absolutely, input tax credit. हमें क्लियर व्हाट इज इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट? व्हाट इज इट इन सिंपल लैंग्वेज? आपने जो अपने सप्लायर को टैक्स भरा है उसका बेनिफिट ले रहे हो, दैट इज इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट. वंस यू कैन एस्टैब्लिश दैट क्लेम दैट नहीं नहीं ये मेरा राइटफुल क्लेम है, लॉ है. अब जब लॉ होता है तो सिर्फ इतने से काम नहीं चलता, because law also needs to be supposed or say adequated by proofs. आपको प्रूफ चाहिए कि भाई यस आपने एक्चुअली में निहाल को टैक्स पे किया है, तो आप निहाल से क्या मांगोगे?
We'll ask for proof, receipt or anything.
Sir, invoice.
एब्सोल्युटली. आप निहाल से क्या मांगोगे? आप निहाल को बोलोगे निहाल इनवॉइस दे मेरे को. निहाल ने आपको इनवॉइस दे दी. अब आर यू हैप्पी? जब चलो अब मेरे पास में इनवॉइस भी है, मैंने निहाल को पे भी कर दिया है. आर यू हैप्पी?
Submit now.
We'll charge it from my customers also now.
That is fine. Even if I don't give you an invoice, you are still supposed to charge it from your customers. But when I talk about claim of an ITC, are you happy that you have invoice?
But we now have to file it as well with the government.
Yeah.
That is coming. Let us stick to the basics first. Otherwise, I will have to directly take up you to return filings, which I don't want to do. At least before 4:30.
Yeah, right. Our job is done there with the supply.
Correct. So once you feel that your job is done, the government enters. It tells, hello, wait. You feel that your job is done. We don't feel so. So you are like, what more do you want? Ask Nihal to pay the money to us. And then you would be like, this is getting absurd. Don't you feel that as a recipient, why am I concerned whether Nihal has paid the tax to the government or not paid tax to the government? Because it is obvious and assumed that if he has collected the money from me, he has paid it to the government. It is obvious and it is assumed both. But the government wants you to play this role as well. Now, because of all such things, see, if there is law, there is also litigation. Law and litigation will always go hand in hand. You cannot avoid the law. Similarly, the law cannot avoid litigation. Now, coming back, because litigation is something that I would like to touch upon later. Coming back, you have understood what is goods, what is services. Now you have also understood what is charging of it. That charging, उसको charging को है ना बहुत polished language में उन्होंने दिया है आप लोगों के लिए. They have used examples because the government also feels that today's generation will not understand anything without an example. Again, I don't feel that thing. Who feels it? The government feels that. So how have they defined it? They say that something that you sell, something that you transfer. Acha, if there is a barter taking place, barter. Acha, what do you mean by barter?
Exchange of goods for
Okay, so what is exchange?
transfer again.
Huh?
Like you exchange with the other person.
So that is barter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is exchange?
In barter, there is no money consideration. In exchange, we assume there must be a money consideration.
So do you assume or there has to be a
There
money
has to be in exchange, yeah.
Correct. So the difference between barter and exchange is that in barter, I give you service, you give me service. I give you goods, you give me goods. I give you goods, you give me service, and vice versa. However, in an exchange, there has to be a money consideration or money element involved. Just to give you an example of it, there are a lot of sales happening around. पुराना दो नया लेके जाओ, पुराना दो नया लेके जाओ. अब वो सारी जो भी एक्सचेंज स्कीम्स होती है उसमें अगर आप खाली अपना सामान दोगे ना, ही विल नेवर गिव यू द गुड्स. सामान के साथ साथ वो आपसे कुछ ना कुछ पैसे तो लेकर ही मानेगा, सेइंग या तो क्वालिटी ठीक नहीं है या तो अप एंड डाउन है, समथिंग लाइक इट. ही वुड फाइंड अप अ रीजन and the person would also ask money from you. Am I clear till this stage?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, sir, if goods are purchased on credit, then also it is called exchange. No, bacha, it is called sales only. It is sales can be of two type: cash sales and the sale on credit. Now you have purchased, you have sold, you have invoices, you have everything. Now the government will come into place. Asha, Aditi, what have you done? I have sold goods. Nihal, what have you done? I have sold services. Aditi, what have you claimed? You have claimed ITC. अब मेरे को बताओ सब. Now the government becomes what to say? Now the government comes in center. Aditi is giving information to the government. Nihal is giving information to the government. Mayank is giving information to the government. 16 others. Okay, I believe there are 16 more people. So those 16 others are also giving information to the government.
Government.
So what government has now? Government has a piece of data. Okay, now understand, this is not data in a correct form. Sorry, rather it has a lot of information. So when Aditi checks or logins into her account, she does not receive the data which Tanya does. She does not receive the data which Karishma does. She only receives the data belonging to her. So government has to process all of this information and give relevant information to the relevant person. How will government identify Aditi? Does it know that there is somebody called as Aditi Patel? Yes, it does. But then it also knows that there are thousands of them. So yes, they identify you with the help of a GSTIN. That GSTIN is unique. Say Aditi Patel of Delhi, if she has this GSTIN, no Aditi Patel of anywhere will have the same GSTIN. Whenever you are trying to do a certain sort of compliances, what is the unique thing that you have with you? GSTIN. So, and remember, everything revolving around this system or every data that revolves around you revolves around the GSTIN. Now they expect you to give detailed disclosures or rather detailed information. So, if you have understood it by now, any business will only have two sort of transactions. One, purchase, another, sales. Apart from sales and purchase, can you have a third type of description? Is there a third description possible?
We can't think of any, sir.
No, sir, it is not possible because you can't think of any because there is nothing.
There isn't.
A lot of us will then think, sir, capital goods हो सकता है, stock in trade हो सकता है, भाई, that is again taken. But a broad range is again purchase. You have purchased your capital asset, you have purchased your stock in trade only. So purchase and sales के ऊपर कुछ नहीं हो सकता. The government wants both its information. Yes. The government is right in asking you for both the information. And yes. So the government tells you, Aditi एक काम करो, मुझे आपके सारे सेल्स के डिटेल्स दे दो. अदिति ने सारे सेल्स के डिटेल्स दे दिए. शिवियन एक काम करो, मुझे सारे आपके सेल्स के डिटेल्स दे दो. मन्नू एक काम करो, मुझे सारे आपके सेल्स के डिटेल्स दे दो. अर्जुन एक काम करो, मुझे सारे आपके सेल्स के डिटेल्स दे दो. अब अदिति, मन्नू, अर्जुन सब एक ही चीज सोच रहे हैं, यार सेल्स ही सेल्स मांग रहा है, कुछ परचेस भी मांग ले हमसे, कम से कम परचेस की भी तो डिटेल मांग. परचेस की डिटेल गवर्नमेंट बोलती है हमको नहीं चाहिए. जब when the government says मुझे आपकी परचेस की डिटेल्स नहीं चाहिए, it also means that you are only getting to represent half of your side. क्यों? क्योंकि सेल्स तो मांग लिया, परचेस नहीं मांगा. अब मान लो अर्जुन को अदिति पर खुन्नस आ गई. अर्जुन ने सारा का सारा जो अपना सेल्स था ऑफ अदिति डिस्क्लोज नहीं किया टू द गवर्नमेंट, या गलत हेड में डिस्क्लोज कर दिया. या रॉन्ग जीएसटीएन से डिस्क्लोज कर दिया, now who would suffer?
I would.
Manu.
Why would Manu suffer अगर अदिति से खुन्ना सही है तो? वो
I
झूठ
would
है क्या
suffer.
पूरा?
I got confused with the names.
No problem, just kidding. So who would suffer? The recipient would suffer. Rather, the Aditi would now suffer in this case. So because you are only asking us for half of the information, it creates a problem. And in legal terms, there is nothing called as problem. There is always something called as litigation. Now, what is the first root cause of litigation? Law. What is the second root cause of implementation? Interpretation of that law. What is the third root cause of that litigation? Compliances of the law. And when I say compliances, I say half-baked compliances. So what has government said to Aditi, Manu and Arjun? Listen, you do one thing. You look at a form. In that form, whatever you feel are your purchases means the other person's sales. I believe someone had also commented the same thing, that your purchases means the other person's sales. So जो उसकी सेल्स है ना, हम मान लेंगे कि आपने उतनी परचेजेस है. Now Aditi would stand up in arms. Hey, hello, I also have other purchases. So if you also have other purchases, the government expects you to wait for a time that the government gets to see that yes, there are also certain other purchases that Aditi has done. Now there is something called as legal difference and there is something called as timing difference as well. Both of them create litigations. Legal difference is, I feel something else. I feel when I'm reading up on the law, I feel नहीं इसका meaning ये है. शिवियन feels नहीं इसका meaning ये नहीं हो सकता, इसका meaning तो यही है. आ गया interpretational difference. Timing difference क्या होता है? Say for example, I am a huge say multi-crore company. मेरे को हर महीने मेरा GSTR अपलोड करना है. निहाल तो multi-crore था. Subodh, Akshat, they are all small taxpayers. Small मतलब about 20 lakhs, but not a multi-million company. They are what? Small taxpayers. They are allowed to upload their returns on a quarterly basis. So when will Nihal, a multi-crore company, get to see your returns? Only once in a quarter. So what happens to my money? It gets blocked. Now how does my money gets blocked over here? I had purchased say a value of rupees 1 lakh plus 18% GST in totality. That form shows me only 70,000 rupees plus GST. So the difference of 30,000 or 18% of 30,000, my money is blocked. I will get it when? Only after say 3 months. Any fault of mine?
No.
Absolutely no fault of mine. Whose fault? Supplier's fault? No, not even the supplier's fault. Whose fault?
Timing difference.
Timing difference. Timing difference was created by?
Government again law.
Never say this on a public medium.
Litigation.
Timing difference has created litigation. It can be created by anybody, but the end result would be litigation. So understand there are a lot of compliances that happens around in this law. You have to file in your returns. You have to file in your annual returns. Annual returns is supposed to be a summation of all your monthly returns, but in reality, everybody knows no work is 100% perfect. Be it accounting, be it taxation, be it any other thing, but no work is 100% perfect. So when your work is not 100% perfect, obviously there are errors, there are omissions. Even in accounting, we have understood that there are various types of omissions. There can be a compensating error, there can be an error of omission, there can be an error of principle. So when all these when are all these errors rectified? Generally at the time of your audit. Correct? Because an auditor would come, he would just run through your books, he would understand that ये आपने फिक्स्ड एसेट खरीदा था लेकिन आपने उसको अपने प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट में चार्ज कर दिया है. So what will that auditor ask you to do? He would ask you to transfer it to fixed asset. So ये सारे rectifications होंगे. That is the reason the government also felt, हाँ यार ये practical reality है. So what to do? How to tackle this practical reality? Very simple. Give some additional time to the taxpayer. It is assumed that all your books are supposed to be completed by 30th of September. So they say कि 30th of September को आपकी बुक्स फाइनल हो जाएगी, ऑडिट हो जाएगी. आपको वैसे भी सितंबर मंथ का रिटर्न अक्टूबर मंथ में भरना होता है. At that point of time, whatever is the error, plus or minus, as the case may be, you take it up and then you rectify it in your subsequent returns. What are the most common compliances that we do to returns? GSTR 1, that is again talking about all your sales. GSTR 3B, that talks about your input tax credit plus sales. Am I clear till here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The next thing and the foremost thing that comes to my mind after this is annual return and its compliances. आपने गलती कर दी, mistakes happened, mistakes were not even rectified. So the government gives you one final chance that जो भी साल भर में एरर किया है आप उसको रेक्टिफाई कर दो. आपको क्या करना है? उसको रेक्टिफाई करना है. बट हाउ इज दैट रेक्टिफिकेशन हैपनिंग? Only and only if it is favorable to the government, the rectification takes place. If it is favorable to you, you will have to forego that rectification. I repeat, how is that rectification happening? It is all a one-way street. Government को फायदा हो रहा है, हाँ हो रहा है, कर दो. गवर्नमेंट को लॉस हो रहा है, टैक्स पेयर को फायदा हो रहा है, करने मिलेगा? नहीं मिलेगा. See, ultimately it's a law. And all laws are time bound. Okay, we cannot expect that the government will give you a benefit for an unlimited period of time. However, this being said, there also should not be a situation wherein आपका right मारा जा रहा है या आपकी आधी अधूरी बातें सुन के पूरा का पूरा डिसीजन लिया जा रहा है. This is again my reading, but the government feels otherwise. And what are we? Students of law, do we have emotions?
No, we don't.
No, we don't have emotions. We are only supposed to tell this is what it is. Apart from it, I have nothing more to share. Now comes rectification. Sorry, compliances भी हो गया आपके. Compliances के बाद में किसका रोल स्टार्ट होगा? Because आपको जो इंफॉर्मेशन देनी थी आपने दे दी. Now whose role starts? The role of the government. Correct. Tax officer is nothing but the government. So now the role of the tax officer or the government starts. He would check. हाँ बराबर. Till the time it is all बराबर, it is good to. Once anything is not barabar, what will happen?
You will get a notice.
Correct. You would get a notice, or in our professional language we call it as a love letter, that please come and meet me. So we will go and meet them for a discussion. Now what is that discussion all about? It is all about law. This was a sarcasm. So that discussion is all about law and nothing about money. Now this being said, you are supposed to fight it on the basis of law. You are supposed to fight it on the basis of merit. Again, I am very categorical in my words. You are double asterisk open, supposed to. How it is fought is again a different story. I am sure if I get into that, I would be running short of time. But you are supposed to do it strictly on the basis of law. and nothing otherwise. Jump up, wear up your sleeves, wear up your blazers, walk into the taxpayer's office, ask him what is the problem. He would tell you ये डेटा नहीं है, वो डेटा नहीं है, आपने ये रिटर्न गलत भर दिया है, ऐसा कर दिया है, वैसा कर दिया. How to tackle that? Yeah, how to tackle that? Simple. First, know the facts. You know, I had written up a post somewhere last year that whenever we are students, we are firstly expected to read the question well. I'm sure everybody would have heard this term once in your life. If you have not, I'm telling it to you. Whenever you get up a paper, read the question well. And once you become a professional, read the notice well. Because the way the notice is drafted is the way your reply should also be. If the notice is absurd, you can give one-liner replies. But if the notice is a well-drafted notice, your reply also has to be a well-drafted one. Litigation. Coming to the point of litigation again. See, there are various levels at which you can have litigation. The first and the foremost level is an audit which gets conducted by the department. Acha. Legally, we are all innocent until proven guilty. Heard of this term?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
When it comes to the tax laws, you are all guilty until proven innocent. पूरा उल्टा. You know, that was, I mean, एकदम से वक्त बदल दिए, जज्बात बदल दिए, हालात बदल दिए. Whenever you comply with law, ऐसा ही समझने का. जो दुनिया समझती है ना, वैसा नहीं है. इसका कुछ ना कुछ उल्टा ही होने वाला है. It is because the law which we are talking about, they say that it is a self-assessment law. And now when you talk about the term self-assessment, it means you are supposed to know what the law is, how the law operates, what is the implication of that law. And if you do not know that, ignorance of law is not an excuse. Therefore, they have a mindset that you are guilty until proven innocent. The next level is obviously you go to somebody superior. So tax officer से superior कौन होएगा? उसका commissioner. Commissioner again department का ही बंदा है. So we expect very little help from that level as well. Next level is कहीं नहीं, directly go to the high court. हाई कोर्ट में जाने का, टेल देम बॉस देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम हैपनिंग अराउंड, आई हैव सफर्ड दिस मच बिकॉज ऑफ दिस एक्शन, नाउ व्हाई शुड आई बी पनिश्ड. हाई कोर्ट में भी हार गए तो किसके पास जाओगे?
सुप्रीम कोर्ट.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट में भी हार गए तो किसके पास जाओगे? कुछ नहीं, अपनी मम्मी के पास में जाने का और कंप्लेन करने का, मम्मी देखो सब गलत हो रहा है मेरे साथ में. That is the only option that we have once you lose in Supreme Court as well. The joke side aside, CBIC के पास सुप्रीम कोर्ट में हारने के बाद नहीं जा सकते अपन. Sorry, if you have lost it in Supreme Court, you have lost it at least in this country. हाँ, फिर आप बाहर जाके कुछ कर लो तो it is again a different story. But ये कंट्री में तो आप हार चुके हो, कोई ऑप्शन नहीं बचता आपके पास. अब जब अपन ने इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट का बेसिक मीनिंग समझा था, we had understood that there was a major litigation. What was that major litigation? I was only told अपनी sales की details दो. I was never asked about my purchases की details. Now that in reality has been the most major cause of litigation of this act. I am sure that in the 35 to 40 minutes that I have spoken, at least I am clear about the law.
Crystal.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now let us come to the economic impact of it as well. Because any law that we study is revenue to the government. If it is revenue to the government, it is having an economic impact. Now I'll tell you one thing. This law is fantastic. It is absolutely a genius of a law. However, the implementation of it has been equally stagnant. I do not say that the law is bad. I only say that the implementation of it is pathetic. Why? I tell you. The portal does not function properly. So when the portal does not function, have you paid money to the company that has made it? Yes.
Yes.
So when you have paid money to the company that has, okay, sir, is this okay? I will take up the question in around 2 to 3 minutes after this as well. Have you paid money to the company that has made it?
Yes, we have.
Yes, you have. Money paid, expenses done, outflow done. Now you are trying to recover it. किससे recover करोगे?
Taxpayers.
Taxpayer से recover करोगे और किससे recover करोगे आप लोग? Monies are coming in. 80,000 crores, 1 lakh crores, 1 lakh 1,000 crores, 1 lakh crores for say 3 continuous months. That is all fine. But give me the breakup. I am telling it to you. This is a cash cow which the government has got. But if the implementation of a cash cow is pathetic, will that remain a cash cow for long?
No.
No.
However, this law, to my surprise, would again complete its 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. It's 5 years in the coming month of July. And as a professional, let me tell you, the economic impact of it is very positive. The revenue that comes to the government with the help of this act, I am sure, is far more than all the earlier acts combined. Because up to 1st of July 2017, there were indirect taxes as well. Acha, if anybody can give me your age group.
18
to 19, 20. 18 to 19.
बस 18 to 19, 18 to 20.
18 to 20, 20.
अरे बच्चे हो आप लोग, अब क्या आपको बोलूंगा, जब आप 14 साल के थे तब इमेजिन करो, कुछ जाने दो उस चीज को. फिर you people are young for me to give you a vis-a-vis now. So and again, you know, there is always a how does economic work? Basic microeconomic. How does that microeconomic works?
Demand, supply.
Demand and supply, absolutely. बस इतना ही चाहिए था. If the demand for a product is more, the revenue would go down or go up?
Up.
Up.
No.
Up or down?
Up.
It will go up only. Now, if the demand for that product is low and there is too much supply in the market, the revenue would go up or go down?
So down.
Down.
It has to go down. However, the government has found a beautiful solution to it. They say if the supply goes down, we would introduce late fees. What is that late fee? आपने कुछ कंप्लाई नहीं किया, बिकॉज आपने कुछ कंप्लाई नहीं किया, आप उसके बदले में हमको छोटा सा फाइन दे दो. कितना छोटा सा फाइन दे दो? Now what does that छोटा सा फाइन mean? It only means up to rupees 10,000. Now 10,000 रुपया भी अगर वो आप लोग 10,000 टैक्स पेयर से कलेक्ट करते हो, what is the amount?
Huge.
It is huge, to be very precise. So then that is how they have boosted this. But yes, again I tell you, I as a professional foresee that if this law gets implemented to its true sense, the litigations would come down. At the same time, the economic impact would also go up. It is not coming down. So this is all that I had to say. Now I would love to have your questions. I know the time is still 5, but if the questions go on and if the moderators permit, I would also take up it to 5:10, 5:15. So the session is all yours now.
Yes, sir, no problem.
Yes, sir, no problem.
And yeah, please, before we take up the question, somebody please click up an image and send it on my WhatsApp as well. I also have to do some sort of publicity.
Yes, sir, that will be done. The screenshot has been taken. We will share it with you soon.
All right.
Yeah.
You can take up the questions.
Thank you, sir, for this wonderful session. It was really informative and insightful. Now the chat box is open for the attendees to put their queries in. We already have one question. What was the problem in earlier indirect taxes because of which GST was introduced?
The democracy of India. I'll give you an example to that. Don't give me such face. अबे क्या बोल रहा है? Why? Because when you are a democratic state, you need to give certain powers to the central government. You need to give certain powers to the state government. The power to levy taxes was at both the levels, at the central level as well as at the state level. So what used to happen was, if a tax was levied by the central government, the state governments would not be willing to pass on the benefit. And if the taxes were levied by the state government, the central government was not getting any sort of benefit out of that. So because I said ना, अगर आप लोग 22-23 age group में होते ना, तो I would have taken you all back 4 years as well, and I would have given you a live example. But मैं आपको सिंपल एग्जांपल चलो दे देता हूँ. आई डोंट नो आप में से कितनों को याद रहेगा, कितनों को नहीं याद रहेगा, बट हाँ, आपके जो भी पेरेंट्स हैं, ओके, इफ दे आर इनटू बिजनेस, जस्ट आस्क देम कि बिफोर 1/7/2017 आप अगर कोई भी गुड्स खरीदते थे तो उसमें आपको वैट लगता था. बट अगर आप कोई रेस्टोरेंट में जाते थे, ओके, वहां पर आपको 2 चीजें चार्ज होती थी. वैट भी चार्ज होता था और सर्विस टैक्स भी चार्ज होता था. अब जो सर्विस टैक्स था ना, दैट वाज अ रेवेन्यू ऑफ द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. जो वैट था, दैट वाज द रेवेन्यू ऑफ द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. नाउ नन ऑफ देम वर विलिंग टू सैक्रिफाइस इट. बिकॉज नोबडी वाज विलिंग टू सैक्रिफाइस इट, हो ये रहा था कि जो लास्ट यूजर था, जैसे मैं था, आप थे, हम सब टैक्स पे टैक्स भर रहे थे. क्योंकि पहले एक बेस प्राइस होती है. बेस प्राइस पे सबसे पहला राइट किसका होएगा? सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने टैक्स चार्ज कर दिया, सो यू गेट अ न्यू प्राइस. न्यू प्राइस पे स्टेट गवर्नमेंट टैक्स चार्ज कर रही है, सो टैक्स पे टैक्स लग रहा था. डबल टैक्सेशन इज नॉट द करेक्ट वर्ड. द करेक्ट वर्ड इज कास्केडिंग इफेक्ट ऑफ टैक्स. बाय डबल टैक्सेशन व्हाट यू मीन इज वन thing gets taxed twice. यहाँ पर one thing is not getting taxed twice. Different statutes or different states are taxing it, or the different levels of the governments are taxing it. The correct word is cascading effect of taxes was there. And yeah, if you want to learn more about it, I have yesterday only uploaded my video of around 2 hours on the same topic as to why was GST required.
Okay, sir.
Next question.
What is cascading effect?
Tax on tax.
All right. We'll wait for some more time for the questions in the chat box. In the meantime, we would like to take up the questions that we had received in the Google form. Sir, I would just read them out.
Okay.
How to become a GST practitioner? Is there any specific certificate needed to be a GST practitioner?
There are 2 answers to this. One, either you get up a professional degree like CA, CS, cost accounting, advocate, then you do not require that specific certificate. If you are not willing to take up that, you complete your graduation, and then there is an exam to be given called as GSTP exam, GST practitioners exam. Register for it, clear that exam. Once you clear that exam, you get that certificate, and then you become GST practitioners.
Okay, sir. The next is, can there be a single slab system in GST?
No, not possible. Because you cannot charge an audit and a calculator at the same rate of tax.
All right. Is GST regressive or progressive in nature?
Law is what it is. It is supposed to be progressive, but the way it has been implemented, it has been made regressive.
All right. There is a question in the chat box. I would take it up. What is GST return and GST filing?
Sahil, were you there for the entire session? Can the person please be unmuted? Yes, sir.
Oh, yes.
So, when we were talking about Aditya giving details to the government, Arjun giving details to the government, those details go out in the form of written. Rather than written, the correct word is information goes out. And only when this all details are combined that you file up a return to the government that stating this is my sales, this is my purchases. And GST return filing is, again, if I speak on that topic, that is a topic of 2 to 2.5 hours. To brief you out, it is simply your details that you give to the government. Since petrol is outside the ambit of GST.
Since petrol is outside the ambit of GST and currently the prices of petrol is rising and it is speculated that it's because of the taxation system. So why it is not covered under GST?
For this, you will have to understand that petrol, the major source of the amount that gets collected from taxes on petrol goes to the state governments. So till the time you don't have all the state governments agreeing to getting petrol under GST, there is no way petrol is ever coming under it. This is the real reason. But again, this is politics, and this is, this has got nothing to do with at least GST is what I can say. Because you read up any council meetings minutes, there was a discussion on getting petrol under GST, but the state's financial ministers did not agree. Why are they not agreeing? Simple logic है, पैसा जाएगा, and nobody wants to sacrifice their money. Thus, not.
So can a normal person not owing any business get a GSTIN?
Why do you want a GSTIN then?
Exactly. Okay, there are a few questions of the Google form remaining. I'll just quickly read them out. Are there any relaxations or exemptions under GST for startups?
No. There are no startup-based exemptions. However, there are services-based exemptions over here. So, for example, if you start up an incubating business, then there is an exemption. But if I start up my own practice, there is no exemption.
Okay, there is one more related to exemption. Is GST exempted in special economic zones?
Special economic zones, no, it is not exempted, but there is a different way as to how GST is taxed.
All right. And
wait. When I say this, I assume that you are receiving services from an SEZ, or rather you are an SEZ who is receiving services from other people. If this is not the aim, please clear your aim so that I can give you a proper answer.
That was a question from the Google form, so we don't really know what the person meant to ask. Those were all the questions that we had. If anyone has any queries, they can put in the chat box.
And one more thing, feel free to get in touch with me on whichever is your favorite social media. I am there at every place because I keep on uploading some quick, recaps or some quick snapshots or some small videos about all these GST laws. And I don't say that, you need to become a master in GST, but staying aloof about it is also not a good idea.
Okay, so we don't have any questions. Once again, thank you, sir. It was a wonderful session.
That is all we have got for you today. Once again, we'd like to thank Sir for accommodating this session in their busy schedule and giving us their precious time as well as for addressing the questions. Thank you everyone for joining this webinar to discuss GST. We appreciate you signing in and I hope your knowledge has been expanded by this meeting.
Somebody has asked my YouTube channel's name. It is CA Nihalchand J Jain. The YouTube channel's name is CA Nihalchand J Jain. And since you are all students, you can also have my contact number. You want me to give it to you?
Actually, yes.
Sir, if you're okay with sharing it.
I am sharing. Even if you Google, you would get it. What a discomfort would I have?
Okay,
It is
sir.
9029 050693.
All right, everyone. I will put the number in the group as well if somebody needs it. It's
Yeah,
already.
we'll share it.
Chalo, we have shared it off. But yeah, just drop me a reference as to where we connected so that I know what age group you belong to so that I answer accordingly.
Absolutely.
Surely, sir, we'll keep
Thank
that
you
in mind.
again, and thank you everyone for joining in.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Please share the screenshot. I am waiting for that.
Yes, sir, we'll do that. The
Yes,
first.
sir. I'll do that.
All right. Chalo. Bye bye. Thank you so much.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
though though we are though we are though we are though we are though
certain except death and taxes. Today we are presenting a session